Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Let's Play Alan Wake. And I let it. When I did continue, we got told off by the Barry over there, dressed in the costume of the northeastern putz. Um, though he's
Well,
still. Yeah, hi, Brenwyn.
hello.
Barry is still largely a less irritating person than Alan Wake is.
Welcome to Alan Wake, where our three weapons are D-cell batteries, inevitable smugness, and multiple layers of clothing.
Yeah. Like I cannot decide which authorial authorial costume to wear, so I just wore them all. Good grief. Hello, Bucktooth Charlie. Oh, yeah, Reed. Oh, yeah, we did this last time. Okay.
Seriously, Al, what you were saying in the car? Just listen to yourself. What, you shot a guy and his body just disappeared? When was the last time you slept? What, are you high? Have you been drinking?
No! Look, Barry, I'm missing a week, and someone's got Alice.
Do you
and everything's
understand what it sounds like when you say stuff like that? Don't get me wrong, it's a good story, could be a bestseller. But when you start confusing fiction with reality, you're buying yourself a ticket to the funny farm.
Wait here.
I mean, I am talking to Rusty. Or no, that's not Rusty, that's Barry. Who is Rusty's the guy out there, isn't it?
Yes. He's the park ranger and the owner of the cabins.
Mm-hmm.
The cabins in the woods, if you will.
Oh, how fun. Okay. There's the door. That opens immediately. I'm going to have to remember because it's been about 2 weeks since we played.
Yep.
Gonna have to remember all the mechanics
Easy
again.
there, boy. I'm almost done.
Hey, Rusty, right? You rent cabins.
Oh, Mr. Wake. I'd shake your hand, but mine are kind of full here. Actually, I'm sorry about this. Would you mind grabbing the registration form from the desk? It's just across from Bucktooth Charlie.
Okay, sure. What happened?
Crazy poachers. Max here got his foot caught in a trap. They're illegal to use here. Hell, you're not supposed to hunt within the park at all. But that doesn't stop some lowlifes. Well, at least Max is gonna be okay. He got lucky. Max is still groggy from the shot I gave him, and I'd rather not leave him alone just yet. The form's on the desk across from the mammoth skeleton.
I'm glad they explained the random bear trap that is just there.
Al, you can't just go and meet a kidnapper. Those situations always end up in disaster. You gotta talk to the cops.
She's my wife, and it's my call. Can we talk about this later?
No, this whole thing. Listen, you hit your head. I mean, geez, Al, come on. You gotta understand how crazy all this sounds. If you're trying to pull a joke on me, freak me out, it's working. Ha ha, let's have a laugh on Barry. Well, you had me going there real funny, Al. You can quit it now.
Okay. I just want to note there's a weird effect that the edges of the character kind of blur. And it's kind of adding to the sense of the dissociative sense of reality's not real.
I think you're referring to the motion blur?
Yeah, is that what that is?
That looks like motion blur to me.
Huh.
You can probably turn that off in graphics settings if you really want to.
It's not bothering me too much right now, but if it's actually, I thought it was a cool effect, but it's because it is really, I've heard of motion blur and I've never really noticed it before, so this is the first time. This, I guess, is a more extreme version of it than usual.
Yeah, usually it's one of the things that you usually turn off first because it does take a lot of processing power.
Got it. And I imagine it gives some people motion sickness.
Yes, it does.
I think this is the form you wanted.
And here are the keys. Okay, you're all set, Mr. Wake. Glad to have you staying here.
Thanks. Can you tell me how to get to Lover's Peak?
Oh, sure. It's at the end of the nature trail. Just follow the paths, you'll get to it eventually. It's an easy walk. Nice spot, too.
I
If
imagine.
you have any trouble finding it, just keep your eyes on the radio mast. It's right below that. Oh, and hey, if you take a walk in the woods, watch your steps so you don't end up like Max. I guess I'm a little worried. We got a bunch of campers out there we haven't heard from. It's not like these people are on a schedule, but with the traps, well, you know. I just don't want any trouble.
Right. Thanks.
Oh, missing campers.
You're asking me to believe that you shot a dude who went poof into thin air, a guy who was bulletproof until you pointed a flashlight at him. You hear that from people who end up spending time in padded rooms, strapped to their beds, wearing white shirts with too long tangled up sleeves, and eating a healthy diet of pills. Al, you make cruel jokes about people who believe that kind of stuff. You're the skeptic. You gave me an hour-long lecture on homeopathy last month. What was it? If there's no proof, it's pure bullshit. Period.
Guess the laugh's on me then.
Al, come on! I mean, okay. Okay, maybe something weird happened to you, okay?
Well, thanks for the heartfelt vote of confidence.
All I'm saying is you gotta throw me a bone here, bestseller. What would you think if it was me? There's no way you should be going out at midnight with a gun.
No one asked you to come here, Barry. Either work with me on this or go straight back to New York. Your choice.
Okay. We have once again come into the language, the kind of antiquated language for dealing with mental illness that horror movies like, or games like to use.
Al? Al? We should go to the sheriff or call the FBI.
Damn it, Barry, they'll kill her! This is not a goddamn debate, Barry. I'm going to Lover's Peak. He said to come alone.
Okay then. I understand. You're my best friend and I'm worried that you're not right in the head. Tell me what to do to help and I'll do it.
You stay here, and if I'm not back by morning, call the cavalry.
Just be careful with the natives, Al. These yokels are dangerous. Everybody hates a tourist, or it'll be deliverance all over again.
Ooh, now there's a thing. Ooh, a collectible that gives me no real benefit in the game.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's like we start with we start with bad language around mental illness, and now stereotypes about
Southeast America.
yeah, and rural people in general. Awesome.
Yep. Okay. It's like, you know, the early aughts was the 90s, and the early aughts were really the political correctness thing started becoming a thing in the 90s that people talked about.
Wait here, Al. I'll hold down the fort. I'll be with you in spirit every step of the way, Al.
At least in America.
Sure now.
And so by the 2000s, when this game was originally made, it wasn't really a conversation that was being taken seriously. It was, you know, making language like that, complaining about language like that was, oh yeah, there are manuscript pages I haven't read yet, was something that people laughed about, like, oh, they're being a little bit too extreme, that kind of thing. And,
Yeah,
go on.
except it's language like
Barry
that.
had the keys to the car he rented.
Sorry.
It wasn't a long walk to the visitor center, and it wouldn't be any use to me in the forest.
Go on.
Except it's language like that that perpetuates stereotypes. So.
Yeah, I made the comment about the reasons why it's just a game, it's just a joke, is really not a great defense.
Well, no, the people.
I knew I should have gone to the cops. This wasn't the smartest thing I'd ever done, but I was still angry with Barry for trying to talk me out of it.
That one's
These
not on
people had
me.
called me right in the sheriff's station. The cops wouldn't scare them, and they had Alice.
that wasn't on me. That's the game.
Yeah. No, the people who say stuff like that are also the same people that will defend video games that they like as high art and jokes as being more meaningful than they are. Then they'll turn around and say, "Oh, but it's just a joke or it's just a game."
Right. And also, it's just like I am not from too many of those things. I cis white, so I'm kind of sheltered from a lot of that. But commentary and joking like that, I've beginning to realize is a lot of feeding into why I characterize myself as broken or deficient for so long, being ace.
Yeah. No, it's a thing.
Yep.
These things like my camp is that that games are art
Mm-hmm.
and jokes do have
Yep.
meanings, and therefore you know you have to wield that sort of power with care. You can't say that you don't have in like when you have a platform you can't say you don't what you say doesn't have power.
Right. The other thing I on it is I am completely understanding of someone walking into making a commentary that they didn't that has implications that they didn't mean.
Yes, but then you acknowledge it, and like it's often a reflex to sort of downplay that, where instead what you should be doing is acknowledge it and saying that you didn't intend for that to happen, and you can see how that comment, you know, that implication could be hurtful, and you won't do it again.
Right.
And then everybody's fine.
Right. It it's very much the your immediate if you're saying it's just a joke, it's just a fiction, you're that is telling everybody around you that your immediate concern is excusing your behavior,
Yes.
not the comfort of the people around you.
Yep.
So the initial of that makes me feel a little uncomfortable. Can you not do that? Is just kind of a polite, please don't do that again. It's not really accusatory, but if you immediately take it as accusatory and start to defend yourself, that's where we start getting a little bit nervous.
Yeah, well, a lot of these people, and believe me, I have dealt with people like this. It's not about it's not about truth or what's real or anything like that. It's just about winning the argument in the moment and feeling like you won.
Right,
It doesn't actually matter what you're arguing for, as long as you are winning.
right. The whole devil's advocate thing, which really should just be limited to a classroom experience for teaching debating.
Yeah,
It is
it's not. It's not even really devil's advocate. It's just ego.
right.
Welcome back to the show, folks. As promised, our very own Dr. Nelson has just parked his rear end in the studio. Doc, what's your Deerfest plan like?
My plan? You make it sound a lot more organized than I ever seem to manage.
Oh, yeah.
No plan, really, just taking the atmosphere. I'm getting a little too rickety to do much more than that, you know.
Oh, tell me about it. No sack race for us older gentlemen, huh?
Yes, exactly, Pat. But I'm going to check out the parade, of course. And I'll be one of the pie contest judges, too.
Well, that takes a different kind of constitution.
Oh, yeah, it's my kind of exercise.
Now, Doc, seriously, you're in pretty good shape, though. You're the outdoors type. I know for a fact you're an avid fisherman.
That's right. Matter of fact, just caught a heck of a largemouth bass early this morning.
But you're not taking part in the fishing contest?
No, not this year. See, Pat, I'm just not that competitive anymore. Now I just like to take my time and enjoy the peace of it. It's no fun if I need to worry about what I'm catching, you know?
Well, considering your track record, the participants are probably pretty happy you feel that way.
Well, Well, Pat, that's kind of you to say.
Okay. Now, to clarify, I'm still really enjoying this game, and for all of its warts and being a thing of its time, the danger is, oh, well, it was made in an earlier time, therefore we should excuse it. They didn't know what they were doing, that's an explanation, but we should look at this and move on further to avoid making the same mistakes in the future. So yeah.
I am still enjoying this game. I'm only pointing out the issue so that people who listen to this don't think about what is being said in this story uncritically. I still love this game. It's just that you have to remember Alan Wake, Barry, and most of the cast, with very few exceptions, are smug assholes.
Yeah. We don't have a Jesse we don't have a Jesse or Pope to immolate to like lighten the load here. This is everybody's really.
Yeah, no, Jesse and Pope are both good characters. You know, they're moral. They say and do the right things. Alan Wake is a douchebag New York writer, and Barry's an okay guy. He's a good friend, but he is also a bit of a
city boy.
Yeah, he's an ass. And this is a horror game. Like, having morally bankrupt protagonists is fine. Like, yeah, this is...
That was actually a good bit. I liked that. Anyway, go on.
Although I think our mate needs to take better care of his cabins.
Yeah, this is a little bit concerning.
I mean,
crime and punishment. The cancer and cure of civilization. But some crimes
I can't stop it now that I've started it, can I?
Especially
no.
in Night Springs. Tonight's episode: The Man in the Mirror.
I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways.
He's inside, Agent. He's a weird one.
So, you're confessing to killing that guy, huh? Why?
Had it coming?
Yeah, but why would you do that? I mean, you're a nice guy. Normal. Took a kid to a soccer game. So how come at the game, you pick a guy and, quoting from the arresting officer's report here, assault the victim's head area repeatedly with the weapon of choice being a pair of bare fists? Wow, that sentence really flows, huh? Maybe you're not the literary type. Okay, so mess him up. But why? Who was that guy? We couldn't ID him. Why would a guy like you do him like that?
I didn't like his face.
Well, you must have hated it, because you really went to town there. I mean, there's no way to tell what he looked like. No ID on him either.
That must be difficult.
But then we ran the fingerprints. Got a match. Your prints. Identical.
Huh, how about that?
Your son said you were wearing a white shirt when you took him to the game. But the white shirt is on the dead guy.
It's plenty red now.
You won't get away with this.
Do you really think that's in any way relevant to me? I had plenty of time to talk to my boy before the cops arrived, you know? He won't stop screaming, am I right? You think he's ever gonna be okay? I left my mark. Believe me.
You bastard.
What? You gonna shoot me? What's the point? I'm going to prison. You got me.
I don't understand any of this.
And you never will. Don't worry. Maybe you'll see me again, Agent. Maybe in the mirror.
Can I say again that Night Springs is largely less disturbing to me than the Treadstone kids?
Oh yeah.
Okay, somebody rented this and now they're dead because there's a lot of blood in there.
Also, I was going to say, I think the issue is also that we're in the dark world
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
From the whole shuddering and
Right, yeah. I should read those at some point. I think they're just collectibles, aren't they?
they are. They give you a little bit of insight on what's really going on, but that insight is basically somebody writing in Alan Wake style is narrating the events of the game.
Got it.
The vision left me weak. This was no head injury. Rusty? Damn.
Rusty, hang on! I'm coming! Please, help me!
What the hell? Oh yeah, I have a sprint.
Anybody? Help me! Help!
Look
help
up.
me!
Where is he?
Can you hear me? Anyone! Please help! Help me!
In one of the buildings?
Oh, there he is. I was worried about going in here because of the... Oh, wow, that's a lot of blood.
Mr. Wake? Oh, hell. It happened just the way it was on that page. I found. Came true. It knew. So dark. It'll come back for me. You must... The lights. In the office. I have the key.
Okay, Rusty. Hang on. I'll be right back.
Rusty doesn't look so good.
Whoever did this couldn't be far. Rusty had found a page from the manuscript. It would help me understand what had happened.
So it's telling me to read now, isn't it?
Yep.
The air in the visitor center was heavy with an awful smell, as if some rotten drowned thing had crawled up from its grave. Rusty kept coughing blood. My eyes were drawn to the twisted shape of his broken leg. The attack had been vicious. Max whined in his cage. Rusty's eyes were wild with fear and terror. He gasped. Mr. Wake, it happened just the way it was on that page.
I mean, that's the only one.
Barry had never gotten along with Alice, but he knew Alan loved her with an almost frightening intensity. And now something had happened to Alice. And here was Al armed with a gun and saying things people got put in padded cells for. It was as if his friend had experienced a massive psychotic episode and was now totally disconnected from reality. It scared the shit out of Barry.
Okay, Alice sees a shadow.
Alice looked through the viewfinder, lining up the shot. Cauldron Lake was breathtaking. Something caught her eye. A figure standing in the shadows behind the cabin, like a thin woman in a black dress. She lowered the camera and looked again. No one there. Just a collection of bushes that looked vaguely human-shaped. She shook her head and laughed.
You know what would have been an interesting follow-up to this game? And we're getting to where we need to do a new video, but I'm going to end with this. An interesting follow-up to this game would have been one where the evil was in the light and the good and the safety was in the shadows.
Yeah. Honestly, I think there is a little bit of that in this, or at least the next, because Alan Wake 2 is coming.
Right.
They've announced it. the light in this game is the poet that you read about.
Yeah.
And I really do think that there's something up with him, and that's going to be the subject of the next.
Good boy.
Got it. But yeah, just have a thing that good and evil is not the physical manifestation. Good and evil is your choices, and I should do a new video, so we'll do that in a